The biggest cause of poverty is the poor thinking of the poor. They have a certain mindset, routine, and habits that make them miserable. On the other hand, rich people have a different outlook on life, which makes them live a prosperous life. In today's video, I'll tell you about the research I did recently on the biggest reason behind the poverty and being wealthy or successful. Before we further begin, I would like you to subscribe to this channel right now if you want to increase the pace of your wealth and success, because I almost create similar videos, and if 1% of my viewers or subscribers can benefit from my videos, that's enough for me. So you might be a part of that 1%. Let's begin. Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel, and other self-help financial books make universal claim that the mindset of the poor people is the biggest obstacle. They, instead of finding different opportunities in the given situation, get bogged down by the challenges and excuses. I'll walk you through the 6 most important points of my research about why poor people can't be rich until they change those habits. Number 1. Poor people make excuses, while rich people take action. The first thing that every poor person does is to make excuses. Ask any poor person and they will have a long list of excuses. I don't have enough money for a startup. I hardly get time for it. I'll start next year. The game is already rigged. There is no chance a poor person will get rich. And many other trashy excuses. Throughout their lives, they cannot commit to taking a bolder step, going for a unique startup, and building a business. On the other hand, there is a rich person's mindset, which does not make excuses. Instead, the person figures out underlying opportunities and novel approaches to business. Brian Tracy, in his book No Excuses: The Power of Self-Discipline, argues that successful people never hide behind excuses. They create disciplined routine and start owning their decisions. In other words, they will not regard supernatural forces as responsible for failure, but rather say, yes, I did my best but failed. Next time I'll be able to do things better. A poor person's mindset is to blame other people, such as competitors, opponents, or things such as black magic. If there is no such excuses, the person will call failure or poverty God's will, which is utterly negative. God doesn't have an old score to settle with the poor, so it is quite conspicuous that rich people do not make excuses while poor people resort to them to vindicate themselves. Number 2. Poor people build liabilities while rich people build assets. The second important difference is that poor people build liabilities while rich people build assets. In simple words, when rich people start earning money, they further invest it in different fields to multiply their earnings. For instance, if a rich person earns $1,000, they will think of ways to make it $2,000 rather than spending it on different areas. They may invest it in some fields or initiate a startup within the given budget. On the other hand, a poor person will think of various needs that can be met by that $1,000. He may buy a new mobile phone, a new bicycle, a motorcycle, a laptop, new clothes, etc. These items may improve the lifestyle of the person for a few weeks, but nothing life-improving will happen to them. Similarly, if a person has a saving of $20,000, a rich person will try to build a small business, such as a shop, so that they can make $50,000 out of it. In contrast to that, the poor person, because of his poor mindset, will waste this money. In some cases, the poor people start adding liabilities, which hampers their progress. For instance, the person may buy a car with $2,000 and live joyously for some month, but the car will become a burden for that person. Each month, at least $200 or $300 will go to keep the car running and managed, and the person will never be able to leave this vicious cycle. Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill shows how poor people mismanage the money they earn and how rich people use it to substantiate their financial position and avoid any liabilities. Hence, poor people add extra burdens on them just to show off, which rich people substantiate their financial positions before adding any luxury items to their lives. Number 3. Poor people believe in 9-to-5 jobs, while rich people create jobs. Another major difference between rich and poor people is that former do business, while latter do 9-to-5 jobs. Think of the 100 richest people in the world, such as Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, Larry Page, Sergey Brin, and many others. All of them have businesses. Similarly, no single employee at Amazon, Microsoft, or Google is on Forbes' list of 400 richest people in the world. In other words, no employee gets enough to become fairly rich in life. you have a limited salary and your whole life is planned around that monthly income. For instance, if your salary is $1,000, your monthly expenses are around $800 a month. With this, you can only save limited money and you no longer have time and budget for a greater start. There are numerous cases of employees facing burnouts and exploitations. The employees have to work extra hours without being paid. Some economists regard this as slave wages when employees don't get life-improving salaries. Number 4, poor people are thinkers while the rich people are doers. Another decisive thing is that poor people are mostly procrastinating. They cannot commit and do things at the earliest. Instead, they make long plans before doing anything. Most of you who are watching this video will have some startup ideas or dreams that you have to accomplish in a given time. But hardly anyone has the energy and will to timely implement the idea and practically start doing things. A poor person will say, I will start saving money next month, or I will kickstart this project in October. All of these are a form of procrastination, which breeds poverty and misery. Much research shows that procrastinating is the biggest cause of poverty. Moreover, not being mentally tough is another reason behind procrastination. A poor person does not have the will to challenge one's own limits and go an extra yard on some projects. They just fall prey to task aversion, distractions, lack of motivation and energy, and other such things. On the other hand, a rich person does not take such thing into consideration, and they will give themselves strict deadlines. This helps reduce wastage of time and make time more productive. It means the rich people will make the most of the day, while the poor people will go here and there and stretch a few hours of work into day and weeks. Number 5. Poor people don't work really hard. It might surprise you, but it is true that the poor do not work that hard. Yes, they might face burnout, but in most cases, they just show up at the workplace and try to avoid doing any laborious work. On the other hand, a rich person works extremely hard, far more than poor people. They make their day productive and do not waste a minute. A poor person will waste 2-3 hours a day on social media, watching funny videos and other stuff that doesn't add any value to their lives. Hardly a rich person and successful person spends that time on social media. Similarly, poor people normally work from 9 to 5 or 40 to 48 hours a week. You compare it with rich people who work 70 to 80 hours a week, which is nearly twofold more. Elon Musk, currently the world's richest person with over $220 billion wealth, says he regularly works 80 to 100 hours a week, which reflects the mindset of the rich people. It means if you're poor, you're likely to stay poor unless you start working extremely hard. Number 6. Poor people don't go for profitable professions. It is true that not everyone can be a business magnate. Some people do not like the field of business or even lack the required skill. But still, there are professions that are higher paying than others. For instance, if you cannot launch a profitable startup, you certainly can opt for professions that give you more income than others. For instance, doctors, engineers, research and development managers, human resource experts, and others are paid more than other professions. For instance, a doctor earns no less than $189,650 per year in the United States alone. A surgeon earns about $350 to $220 per year. The average salary of a petroleum industry engineer is $147,520 per year. A psychiatrist will earn about $181,880 per year in the United States alone. Other leadership jobs in the business field can be life-changing experiences as well. In many cases, poor people do not join these professions, which do not help them leave the vicious cycle of poverty. Instead, they offer low-paying jobs, which are easier to get, such as machine operators, kitchen handlers, attendants, or working in different factories such as textile, garments, hotels, etc. These jobs are low paid, and many people with good educations are doing them, which shows their poor mindset. The issue becomes serious considering that some people do not self-promote or advertise themselves for some reason, which is counterproductive by any stretch of imagination. As Abraham Lincoln said, you should sell your brain and brawn to the highest bidder. I hope you enjoy this video. Thank you for watching. Your support motivates me to create more videos for your successful future. See you soon.